Hey guys, Matt here. So it's been close to a year since I began investing in Gevo. I don't know how long it's been since I've been making videos in Gevo. I'm not gonna go back and look, but it's been close to a year. Technically it's been a year since May the 6th. So it's not quite a year yet, but it's close enough to I'm probably gonna title this a year of investing in Gevo, something like that. And I want to make this video to talk about how we're doing. I want to talk about whether my current investment strategy, whether I'm buying more Gevo, whether I'm holding, whether I'm selling some of Gevo, whether I'm selling all of Gevo, and I want to talk about how I feel about the company and the stock and my outlook on how I think it's going to do in the future. So, how do I feel about Gevo right now? Owning Gevo right now for close to a year. How do I feel? Well, I'm about to say something where if you are superstitious, if you believe in jinxing or fate and stuff like that, I may be about to jinx you. If Gevo stock goes to zero ultimately, if the company goes bankrupt, it might be my fault for what I'm about to say next. Gevo's stock, since I've been owning it, Gevo's stock could be worse. Yeah, I said it. Now, granted, it could be a lot better, but as of right now, it could be a lot worse. Let's talk about it. So, Gevo stock over the past month has had a pretty big comeback from its bottom. Now, I don't know how you feel about, timing the market or anything like that, and I don't know if there will be another bottom, but as of right now, the most recent bottom, again, I'm about to jinx this again, we seem to be past that. So, from a 1 month standpoint, we're doing really good. Now, from a stick point standpoint, not so well. And from a 1 year standpoint, yeah, still not so well. If we take a look at my own investment history, yeah, from my initial investments, yeah, we're not doing so well. We're down quite a bit. We get on here, it's now I've been buying Gevo on the way down considerably. And as far as my recent investments, yeah, I'm up considerably. So depending on when I invested, I'm either doing really, really terrible or really, really great. Right now, I am sitting at I guess, just above a 10% loss. And given my history with the company, like, if you've been following me for some time, you've seen this go down to 30%, 40%. For me to be down less than 10%, honestly, as of right now, I'll take it. Especially given Gevo's current performance and what Gevo is expected to do over the next year and in 2024/2025. If we take a look at Gevo from purely a past performance standpoint, as far as its income statement, yeah, it's been performing like absolute crap. It has not been performing well at all. I made some comments on my Hylian, one of my earlier Hylian videos where I talked about their gross loss and how that was terrible. I mean, Gevo's doing a lot worse, a ton worse. We're talking about Gevo spending 4.1 million in order to make 711,000. That is absolutely terrible. It's terrible on the top line, it's terrible on the midline, and it is even worse on the bottom line. Gevo's past performance has been getting worse and worse and worse. I don't think anyone is buying Gevo right now for what it's done in the past. It has not been doing well. Now, I don't like using, analyst estimates and all that stuff and how Gevo does as gospel as far as how they're going to do, but Gevo has missed almost every single EPS estimate, and Gevo is clearly missed every earnings estimate, or as far as revenue estimate. Now, trust me, you don't see it here, but I mean, if you've been following Gevo's recent earnings, they have not met a single revenue estimate for a while. Top line, middle line, bottom line, high earnings, average earnings, low estimates. Gevo has not met any of them. Now, I understand I came right out of the gate saying a ton of negative stuff about Gevo, and it would seem, just based on the first couple minutes of me talking about it, that I am not bullish on Gevo at all. But I mean, I have a lot of investments in Gevo. As far as the number of shares, I mean, I have a pretty substantial amount. So, what's my deal with Gevo? It is certainly not because of what they've done. It's because of what they're going to do. Like I said earlier, no one's buying Gevo for what they've done in the past. However, Gevo has a ton of take or pay agreements signed with high profile customers. We're talking 3 billion signed and take or pay. That means if the customer decides to back out of the deal after Gevo has done their part, the customer still has to pay Gevo a certain amount. And like I said, we're talking high profile customers. Delta, SAS, Trafigura, Colmar, talking the city of Seattle. Like, we're talking a bunch of money and take or pay contracts. Now, these aren't memorandums of understanding. These aren't letters of intent. This is money signed, ready to go to Gevo, as long as Gevo holds up their end of the work. And a lot of these are exercisable, I think, in 2025. I almost said 2024. We'll talk about that in a little bit, the 2024-2025 thing. But there's a lot of money sitting right there on the table. That's why people are buying Gevo now, because there is money waiting to be grabbed over the next several years. And all Gevo has to do is their end of the work. Believe me, if this stuff wasn't here, I wouldn't have given Gevo a second look, and I don't think most investors would have given Gevo a second look if all this stuff wasn't signed and in place. And on top of that, according to them, it's over 30 billion in financeable offtakes. So this is stuff that's been in discussion. And now this depends on whether you believe Patrick or not, but I don't remember if it was the last earnings or the one before it. There were some Q&A questions about this, how far they are. And Patrick said with most of these customers, they're past the point where they're going to buy it or no, they're not. And they're to the point of the finer details. So, according to Patrick, a lot of this stuff is closer to yes, and they're in the details. Now, that being said, these aren't signed contracts, so that's not set in stone. However, I mean, what is set in stone is Chevron has sent a letter, has signed a contract with Gevo that Chevron is going to help Gevo build their net zero plant. Now, their net zero plant, which we'll talk about in a second, is what Gevo is going to build in order for Gevo to supply their end of the bargain with these customers. That's what Gevo is going to use to supply the sustainable aviation fuel and all that fun stuff. On top of that, there's even better news. We don't have to wait to 2024, 2025 for Gevo to start making some real serious revenue. Gevo has an RNG plant that's it's done being built now. If you read the recent news, it's not only is it done being built, but Gevo is in the process of bringing it online now. They're expected to bring about 16 million to 22 billion by 2023 in EBITDA and project EBITDA. So, and the fact that this is on time, it speaks to length about Gevo's ability to achieve their own goals, which is something I value highly in investments. Now, there is one problem here that I want to bring up. It's my only negative I have about how things are going. It's their Net Zero 1 plant. Now, you will see here that it is expected to be operating in 2025. Now, if you have been following Gevo over the past year, you will note that prior to this presentation, the Net Zero plant was supposed to come online in 2024. This now says 2025. Now, if I scroll up here, and I'm not going to read this, basically, they give a pretty good explanation as to why they're doing this. They're instead of using their Net Zero 1 to make isobutanol, they're making ethanol to use into the SAF process. This is supposed to generate more money, all that stuff over the lifetime of the Net Zero 1 project, which, okay, I can get behind that. And, I'm not an expert in this whole renewable energy thing. I'm not an expert. Maybe, this probably makes a lot of sense as to they probably have to cancel a lot of parts of the project. They probably need to buy different equipment. That probably takes more time. that I can get behind. So the delay to 2025, that kind of hurts a little bit, but I can understand that. It allows us to make more money over the life of my investment, which I plan on holding Gevo until 2030, unless things go south. So as long as this is the only update, we're fine for now. Like, Gevo has come through on their RNG plant, so far their immediate wins are coming to light. Now, if we're in 2024 and 2025 and this starts being delayed heavily, that's a problem, because that means the current contracts in place that could be strained. We don't know the details of the contracts, whether the customers may change the agreement or bow out of the agreement if Gevo fails to hold up their end of the bargain. Because, like I said, well, let's talk about this. What is the worst thing that could happen to Gevo right now, reasonably, given everything I just said? The bullish in me will say nothing. No, this is money on the table, but it's not. The worst thing that can happen to Gevo right now is they fail to bring this Net Zero 1 plant on time or in a reasonable amount of time. If this gets delayed substantially, or heck, if this gets canceled, there goes all that money, and we're right back to zero. The stock will plummet. Now, Gevo hasn't shown anything except for this little delay here. Gevo hasn't shown anything to convince me that they can't do this. So right now they're on my good side mostly, but it is something to watch out for. This is not money in the table, or this is money in the table, but Gevo still needs to walk into the room and grab it, which Gevo has not yet done. Now, let's talk about some more recent good news involving Gevo's agreements. Now, we're going to start here from a news article from 2019 where Delta had entered into agreement with Gevo, where Delta will purchase 10 million gallons of SAF over the life of the contract, starting when Gevo brings up their plant now in 2025. Delta has recently replaced that agreement, or upgraded that agreement from 10 million gallons to 75 million gallons per year. So 10 million gallons per year to 75 million gallons per year. That's going to generate approximately $2.8 billion of revenue over the life of the contract. That is fantastic. That shows that shows Delta's faith in Gevo, and that ups my faith in Gevo as an investor. That shows that Gevo is getting a lot of agreements, a lot of interest in customers, not only just potential interest, but signed interest. This is fantastic news, and it makes me very happy to be a Gevo shareholder. Now, let's talk about some more. This is probably some short-term good news, but it's good news nonetheless. Now, earlier, if you may recall, if you've been following Gevo for a while, you may have seen, this is from Yahoo's statistics page, you may have seen short interest going as high as 22%. I remember this being 22% short interest about a month ago. Now it's down to 17.8% short interest. Now, that's still a lot, but it's down from a month ago. Now, I don't know if that's going to continue to decline, but it's some good short-term news. It means that either shorts are finally starting to cover, or they're starting to give up. But either of those options are good news from Gevo. And given the steady rise in Gevo's price over the last month, shorts may be covering. Shorts may finally be covering. Now, to wrap things up, let me talk about my current plans with Gevo. As of right now, I have about $6,000 invested in the company that I've been buying over the course of the year. I have just shy of 1,200 shares, and Gevo currently makes up 8.3% of my portfolio. As far as me buying Gevo, I would like to say that I'm done buying the stock. I have bought as much as I feel like, and I feel like buying right now. And that's not saying anything negative about the stock. It's just, as far as my portfolio, I don't want to put above 10% in any stock, especially a stock that's not profitable. So as much as I'm bullish about Gevo, enough is enough. So my plans right now are to hold my shares and ride Gevo throughout 2025, 2030, and just hold on and just enjoy the gains, assuming there are gains to be had. And I don't plan on buying any more shares unless Gevo gives me a reason to. And I don't plan on selling my shares unless Gevo gives me a reason to. But anyways, take care, have a great day, and eat your vegetables.